demands a life sentence. I would ask that the victim's family be allowed to leave the room.
Both charged with what they call felony murder while in the perpetration or attempted perpetration of child abuse in the first degree. They're alleging that you murdered one Mary Welch. That is a charge called homicide felony murder. It is life without parole.
Jeremy and Christine Moody, July 2013. A tragic incident unfolded in Jonesville, South Carolina. Charles and Gretchen Parker, a married couple, were brutally murdered at home by two strangers claiming to be part of a white supremacist group. The killers, Jeremy and Christine Moody, later admitted targeting Charles because he was a registered sex offender, and also revealed shocking plans to kill more people on the state sex registry. Jeremy and Christine Moody, 36, were members of a racist skinhead gang called Crew 41, affiliated with the Hammerskins, a violent neo-Nazi organization. Established in 2010, Crew 41 had chapters in various states, including South Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee, and Texas. The group's motto was simply, hate, kill, destroy. The Moodys had a history of mental problems and sexual abuse in their families, and they harbored a deep hatred for sex offenders. In conversations with the police, Jeremy claimed to have killed Charles Parker because, in his words, he was a demon and a child molester. Shockingly, he revealed that he had been planning to kill him for over a year, but had chickened out previously, even maintaining a list of other sex offenders he intended to eliminate. Charles Parker, aged 59, was convicted in 1991 for sexual assault on a child and again in 2003 for third-degree criminal sexual misconduct involving a 31-year-old woman. His name was on the South Carolina Sex Offender Registry, which is publicly accessible online. Gretchen Parker, 51, wasn't a registered sex offender but tragically lost her life simply because she was in the wrong place at the wrong time. On July 21, 2013, the Moodys pulled into the Parkers' place, feigning car trouble. The Parkers had a surveillance camera outside their home, which captured the Moodys' arrival and their conversation with the victims. The video showed that the Moodys and the Parkers spoke to each other for about 10 minutes, and then the Moodys were invited inside. Once inside, armed with a .38 handgun and a knife, the Moodys attacked. Charles and Gretchen Parker faced a horrifying ordeal, enduring multiple gunshots and stab wounds until they lay lifeless on the floor. After this brutal act, the Moodys made a quick exit, leaving behind a bloody mess and a chilling note that read, Crew 41. It was not until the next day that the Parkers' lifeless bodies were discovered in their homes. Another person arrived, seeking help with their car, only to find the door wide open. Concerned, they called the police, initiating the investigation. The police used the surveillance footage to identify the Moodys and arrested them on July 24, 2013. Jeremy Moody's distinctive tattoos, including white power and skinhead on his head and neck, facilitated a swift identification. He also had a swastika and a Confederate flag on his body. Christine Moody had a Celtic cross tattoo on her chest, a symbol associated with white supremacy. The Moodys confessed to the murders and expressed pride in their actions. They even claimed to be part of a larger plan to eliminate more sex offenders and that they had accomplices. However, the police found no evidence of such a conspiracy, and the Moodys were the only ones charged with this heinous crime. The Moodys admitted guilty to 2 counts of murder, 2 counts of kidnapping, 2 counts of possession of a firearm during a violent crime, and first-degree burglary. They could have faced the death penalty, but they agreed to life sentences without parole instead, giving up their right to a jury trial. On May 6, 2014, Judge Lee Alford sentenced Jeremy and Christine to life in prison. Before the sentencing, the Moodys expressed remorse for their actions, reading from the Bible and asking for forgiveness.
Not a day goes by that I don't regret the incident that happened. And I know that what I've done is a sin.
I truly believe God has forgiven Jeremy and I. I hope you will too.
They even apologized to the Parkers' family who were present in the courtroom. The remorseful facade that these killer couples had vanished when the North Carolina judge handed down the maximum punishment, 2 consecutive life sentences.
These 2 people, they had nothing, no way to defend themselves or anything else. And I tell you that I believe that if these 2 were to get out of jail, I would be concerned that they would do exactly the same thing again. I don't have any question. I think it is a case that justice demands a life sentence.
Upon delivering their sentence, Jeremy and Christine had bold smiles on their faces as he read the sentences and even kissed each other after receiving their sentencing as if they were celebrating their fate. The Moodys taunted the victims' relatives.
Perverts later. Child molesters.
Stepping out of court, they expressed disdain for child molesters and revealed their courtroom apologies meant nothing.
Child molesters do not deserve to live. They got exactly what they deserve. Had to do it over again. I'd kill more.
I think Jeremy and I would have done it again if given the opportunity.
Do you have any regrets?
I have no regrets. Killing that pedophile was the best day of my life.
What about what you said in court about repenting? Is that not true then?
No, it's not true. My lawyer made me say it.
Do you have anything to say to the victim's family?
May they die also.
That was the Moody's.
Now, if you thought the other couple caused mayhem in the court, wait till you hear about this next couple.
Do you believe she was beyond help already? Oh yeah, she was dead as a doormat.
Seth Welch and Tatiana Fusari. In August 2018, 10-month-old Mary Welch was found dead in her crib in Solon Township, Michigan. She weighed only 8 pounds and had died of malnutrition and dehydration. Her parents, Seth Welch and Tatiana Fusari, were arrested and charged with felony murder and first-degree child abuse. Seth and Tatiana's journey began in 2012 when they met online, marrying in 2014. Residing in Solon Township, Kent County, Michigan, they lived with their 3 children. A 4-year-old boy, a 2-year-old girl, and Mary. Despite claiming devout Christianity, their beliefs were extreme, rejecting modern medicine and harboring anti-government views. They grew their food and raised animals on their farm. They posted videos on social media where they expressed their opinions on various topics, such as abortion, homosexuality, and apocalyptic prophecies. Only one of their children had ever seen a licensed doctor, and Child Protective Services had been involved with the family since 2014, after THC was discovered in the bloodstream of their eldest newborn child. Their living conditions were deplorable, a filthy home infested with vermin, insects, and mold. Mary's heartbreaking end exposed the depth of neglect, lack of care, and indifference. She was put to bed at 3:30 p.m., only to be checked on the next day at 10 a.m. When they found her cold, unresponsive, and not breathing, they called 911.
How long ago did you find this child?
It's about an hour and a half. I was waiting. I called my lawyer first thing to ask, what's the next thing I should do. And they said, wait till they're here to call, the police and get back.
Instead of seeking immediate help, he consulted a lawyer first, treating it as a mere formality. The dispatcher questioned if it was normal for their kids to sleep that long.
He said, when you found her, she was already believed to be deceased, right?
Yes.
And that's when you consulted with a lawyer?
Yep.
Do you believe she was beyond help already?
Oh, yeah. She was dead as a doormat.
They also said they did not know what led to Mary's death, and they thought she was healthy. The police arrived and arrested the parents, who showed no signs of remorse or emotion. They were charged with felony murder and first-degree child abuse.
Charged with what they call felony murder, while in the perpetration or attempted perpetration of child abuse in the first degree, they're alleging that you murdered one Mary Welch. That is a charge called homicide felony murder. It is life without parole. It requires a DNA sample to be taken upon arrest.
Welch's trial commenced in January 2020 and lasted 4 days. The prosecution presented evidence from the autopsy, revealing that Mary succumbed to chronic malnutrition due to the withholding of food and water. The doctor conducting the autopsy disclosed that Mary's bones were visible, devoid of any fat or muscle tissue, indicating that she had endured weeks or months of suffering leading up to her death. In response, the defense attempted to argue that the parents were unaware of Mary's condition and insisted they had provided sufficient nourishment.
I didn't think there was anything wrong with her.
They also tried to blame the death on a genetic disorder or a sudden illness. However, the jury did not buy their arguments and found Seth Welch guilty of first-degree murder and child abuse. He was sentenced to life in prison without parole. Tatiana's trial was delayed due to the COVID-19 pandemic and took place in October 2021. She testified about abuse by her husband, claiming he controlled everything and prevented her from seeking medical help for Mary.
He smacked me across the face and he told me that he knows he said, you know what the I think about doctors. I told you Mary is fine. She's fine, now drop it.
However, the prosecution pointed out that Fusari had access to a phone and car, suggesting she could have sought help. They also showed evidence that Fusari had posted on social media about her happy family life and that she had praised her husband for his faith and leadership. The jury, unconvinced by Fusari's testimony, found her guilty of first-degree murder and child abuse.
That is a charge called homicide felony murder. It is life without parole.
In the end, the judge sentenced Tatiana Fusari to life in prison without the possibility of parole, adding 15 to 30 years for the child abuse charge. If you thought Seth and Tatiana deserved the award of killer parents, you should hear this next story of the Rodriguezes, Larissa and Christopher Rodriguez. In December 2017, the police received a surprising tip from Pakistan. A 5-year-old boy named Jordan Rodriguez had been killed and buried in the backyard of his home in Cleveland, Ohio. The caller was the brother of Christopher Rodriguez, the boyfriend of Jordan's mother, Larissa Rodriguez. He claimed that Christopher had confessed to him about the crime via Facebook Messenger. The police went to Larissa and Christopher's home to check on the well-being of the boy.
I have one of about a 4 or 5-year-old. How old are your children?
Larissa lied to the authorities and the school about Jordan's whereabouts on multiple occasions, claiming that he was with his dad or relatives or in the hospital.
Do you have a child with special needs?
Oh, Jordan? Yes, I do.
How old is Jordan?
Jordan, he is just turned 5.
Where's Jordan at?
He's with his dad. He's going to be visiting for the holiday. He's not here with us right now, for the holiday.
Where's Dad at?
In Texas. He's not even here.
Larissa couldn't provide a valid phone number for the cops as she was trying to cover up their tracks.
Supposedly Jordan is with Dad
yes,
in
he's
Texas.
with Dad.
We can call him?
Yeah.
Huh? Right now, I don't have the number because he was going to get a new number.
Okay. But he's got family, so we can
yes.
talk to them.
The police returned the next day, searched around and dug up the decomposed remains of Jordan in a shallow grave. They also discovered that Larissa and Christopher had 9 other children living in inhumane conditions. With no food, water, or heat, the couple was arrested and charged with involuntary manslaughter, felonious assault, child endangering, and gross abuse of a corpse. According to the prosecutors, Larissa and Christopher Rodriguez had subjected Jordan to horrific abuse and neglect. Jordan had developmental disabilities and needed special care, but his mother failed to provide him with medical attention, proper nutrition, or hygiene. He suffered from multiple injuries, including broken ribs, and had signs of malnutrition and infection. He died sometime in September 2017, but his mother did not report his death or seek help. Instead, she and her boyfriend wrapped his body in garbage bags and buried him in the backyard. Larissa and Christopher then continued to live in the house with their other children, who ranged in age from 1 to 15. They also collected food stamps and Social Security benefits for Jordan, even after they buried his body. Larissa and Christopher Rodriguez pleaded not guilty to the charges and were scheduled for trial in June 2018. However, they changed their pleas to guilty on the day of the trial as part of a deal to avoid a potential life sentence. They pleaded guilty to murder, felonious assault, child endangering, and gross abuse of a corpse. The deal was made to avoid a lengthy and costly trial and to spare the other children from testifying against their parents. During their sentencing hearing, the couple could not explain why they did what they did, or how they could live with themselves after killing and burying their son, or even apologize for it.
I look at friends and family, people who are desperate to have children and want to have families, and you two have babies with no consideration. You just keep having them, disregarding the value of their life, disregarding their purpose in life, like they're less than an object, no regard. I didn't even hear you say you were sorry.
She did not stop there. She went on to say,
It's clear that you did everything you could, you and Larissa, to hide evidence to protect yourselves. You had every opportunity at so many points to make a difference, to get help, to stop beating somebody, to call the police, to ask for help, to try.
The judge sentenced Larissa Rodriguez to 25 years in prison and Christopher Rodriguez to 28 years, the maximum allowed by law.
All counts to be served consecutive to each other, with credit for any time served. That's a total sentence of 28 years. That's the maximum.
The only thing Larissa could do was shed crocodile tears. The judge called their crime despicable and inhumane and said that they had failed miserably as parents.
What we do every day is so hard. People don't give any of us the credit that we deserve for dealing with the horrors that are brought before us. And Mr. Rodriguez, this is a horror. I know as a judge I'm not supposed to show emotion. And in 22 years, I never have. This is one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life.
The couple's other children were placed in foster care or with relatives, and that's it for this video. If you want to see more crazy courtroom moments, check out this video, and don't forget to subscribe.